The night she said no was supposed to end quietly. Instead, it began with a whisper that slid through the gym like a blade, sharp enough to cut a rumor into truth. If you stay with this story until the last breath of it, you'll understand how a single choice made with shaking hands and a steady heart can turn fear into fire and silence into thunder. She had rehearsed the word no in her head all week, rolling it between her teeth like a promise she intended to keep. Prom night glimmered around her with rented lights and borrowed confidence, and she stood near the bleachers in a soft blue shirt she'd stitched herself, the fabric light and imperfect the way she felt. When he approached, flanked by laughter and the heavy cologne of entitlement, she met his eyes and said it gently, clearly, and without apology. No, the smile on his face hardened. The crowd's buzz thickened. Somewhere a song skipped, and in that small hiccup of sound the gym shifted its weight. Teasing came first, the kind that pretends to be playful so it can wound without consequences. She tried to step away, but hands closed the space around her, not touching yet, just close enough to remind her who they thought they were. Her breath shortened. She remembered her father's voice from long ago, reminding her that courage often arrives late but never empty-handed. Then the laugh turned mean. A tug followed, sudden and humiliating, fabric tearing with a sound too loud to be ignored. The world paused. Eyes widened, phones lifted. She felt heat rush to her face, not shame this time, but a clean, electric anger that snapped her spine straight. She didn't scream, she didn't cry. She planted her feet the way she'd learned in a borrowed gym after school, the place she went when the hallway felt too narrow and her thoughts too loud. She had taken classes there quietly, never boasting, never telling anyone why she wanted to learn how to move with purpose. The bullies didn't see the shift until it was too late. In one smooth motion she turned, her leg arcing with practiced precision, her balance rooted in the floor. The kick landed where control lives, not to destroy but to stop. The sound was a gasp, collective and stunned, as the loudest voice in the room fell silent. Time rushed back in. Teachers surged forward, friends found their courage. The bullies scattered, stripped of their power in front of the very crowd they'd hoped would cheer them. She stood there, chest rising and falling, the torn shirt hanging like a flag she refused to lower. Someone offered a jacket. She shook her head, not yet. She wanted them to see her as she was, unbroken, breathing, still standing. If you think the story ends there, stay with me. The real test comes after the shock fades, when whispers return and the morning after asks its quiet questions. The next day the gym smelled like cleaner and consequences. She walked in with steady steps, her shoulders wrapped in a borrowed hoodie, her chin high. The principal spoke about respect in a careful voice, and apologies arrived dressed as excuses. She listened not because she owed them her attention, but because she owned her future. When asked if she was all right, she told the truth. She was learning that no is a complete sentence. Learning that strength can be gentle until it must be fierce. Learning that being shy never meant being small. The rumors tried to reshape the night, to blur the edges so blame could slip through. She didn't chase them. She trained, she studied. She volunteered to speak at an assembly, hands trembling at first, then steady as she found her rhythm. She told her classmates that boundaries are not dares and rejection is not an invitation. She spoke about the cost of laughter when it's sharpened into a weapon. The gym listened this time, quieter, heavier, ready. Weeks later, the same space felt different. The lights were softer. The air was kinder. She stood at center court during a self-defense demonstration, showing movements that began with awareness and ended with escape. She smiled when she caught a friend's eye in the crowd, a smile born from trust, not fear. The applause that followed wasn't loud in the old way. It was steady. It lasted. By the end of the year, the torn shirt was folded carefully in a box beneath her bed, not as a reminder of pain, but as proof of a moment when she chose herself. She didn't become someone else. She became more herself. And if you're still here, hear this part clearly. Your no matters. Your body is not a battleground. Courage doesn't always roar, but when it does, it can shake a room and change a life.